know everyone. What if there's not a shared sense of responsibility? What would you do? What are some things we can do? All right, thank you for the private. I need to go back and read these. Yes, thank you everyone who sent me a message. I appreciate that. Okay, so here's what I want y'all to do for me. That is a lyric from a song, and I told my husband I was gonna put it in there. All right, what I want you to do for me is I really want you to think about and reflect on, this is a professional learning experience, right? You're here, but who's not here? Who should be here alongside you? Because everyone's going to say, can I get the recording? Is she going to pass out her PowerPoint? No, you had to like be, this is like, this party's happening. You have to like be here because you can't relive it. Okay. I don't even know what they're going to do with the recording, but it's not the same thing. Okay. How about making sure everyone understands, right, how proficiency is determined, good, bad, or indifferent? It is what it is. And what are the implications when some people don't know? Brandy, I hope you're laughing with me and not at me. Okay, Brandy? No, seriously, it's not like just for a few people to know. And sometimes how proficiency is determined changes. Yes, yes. Last year, it used to be a this. Now the DOE changed it to a that. Whatever it is, make sure we're all kept abreast. Okay, and what happens when English language proficiency or other language data points, whether it's reading in a student's home language, what if it's not included? We talk a lot about triangulation. It's not a triangle, it's a square. And guess what? We're not even included. I'm like, this thing needs to be a rhombus. Okay, we need more data points. That was for the math people, for them to say, oh, she didn't even use any math language. Yes, I did. I just said rhombus. Okay. Here's what else I want you to do for me. Here are some highlights. Here's the action, okay? And I wanted to put time for some action in my book, but the editor said, you can't put that in the book. So instead I put a warning label in the book, okay? I put, you remember like back in the day on a CD, they would have like a parental advisory on the CD. I put a warning label in the book and it says, warning, this can be used to upset the status quo. So here are some action points. Make sure you know your student population from a data perspective, because data matters. With all due respect, none of us have all of the time, right, to learn every single student story. That would be wonderful. But in the course of a 10-month school year, we have to make sure we have that wide lens. And then of course, zoom in and get those individual student stories, but really keep that big picture in mind. Make sure you understand and adhere to the civil rights mandates and knowing where are there opportunities for growth, where are some opportunities to do better, and really kind of delve into that and say, well, here's what we've been doing, but do we know for sure that this is working for our students or not? Okay, think about those simple questions with complex answers. Every school community is unique. What may be happening at your learning community could be different than what's happening down the street. That's okay. Everybody has their own watercolor palette. All right, and then think about this planning for ongoing professional learning. Thinking ahead. I can't tell you how many times I'll get a call or request to come, engage in some work because we've got to spend it by this date. Okay, did you just get multilingual learners, or they've already been in the district all this time? Right, so they shouldn't be an afterthought, and it shouldn't just be because we have to do something by this date to be compliant. Okay, so thinking about planning ahead, also making sure there's some flexibility in those plans as your population may grow and or change. Okay, that flexibility is important. So we're getting close to the end here, and I just want to show you what I did with these simple questions. So I took these 8 simple questions and I just kind of aligned them to the civil rights issues. And essentially what this slide is showing you is that these aren't just questions to be asking just to be asking, right? When I'm asking about the number of students who are identified, I'm really getting at that mandate around the school community having an identification and an assessment process in place in a timely manner. Okay, when I'm getting at what's the program model, it's because you have to have a service model that's educationally sound and research-based. All right, when we're getting at how many students are duly identified, we're getting at mandate F, meaning students with disabilities and identified and their language needs have to be evaluated and services offered. So it's just another way to say, here are the questions, right? We're asking to be asking, but here's why. If we know the answers to these, chances are we are making sure that our students' civil rights are adhered to. Okay. All right, so do we have time? Yeah, we have time. Okay, so I want to show you an example. This is an example of a school community who put all of this into action. And this is one of my favorite partners. This is a Boston Public School. It's the Mattahut School. They serve about 70 students ages 4 to 7 years old in grades K1 through 3rd. And this is an example of our nation's first early learning English Haitian Creole program. And they purposely did not want it to be an English French program. They wanted to teach the students the language of their mother tongue, and they did not want to teach the students the language of Haiti's colonizer. So this is an example of an action approach, social justice embedded, and really elevating multilingualism for Black students especially. So let's have a quick stop share, and Melissa's going to cue up the video.
When I first started in education, I had gotten my license in TBE, which is transitional bilingual education. And so the goal was to have students who speak Haitian Creole learn English only and to just assimilate into the culture, but to see a program that we have here that honors both English and both Haitian Creole and teaches right now for the students 70% in Haitian Creole and 30% in English. So it makes me very proud to see students who are like me. Many of the students are second or third generation Haitian students. And so to keep that culture alive, the Haitian heritage alive and keep going is a wonderful feeling, a wonderful opportunity for our kids and our families. Having the first dual language program for early elementary is just a really wonderful opportunity for the Haitian community and for Boston as well.
When I had my first child, when she turned 3, when she started going to school, and all she was talking is about the teacher, and I said, wow, teachers can really impact kids' life. And I decided to go and get a master in education. And since then, 25 years now, I've been teaching. I've been working with kids. As a kindergarten teacher, we do a lot of hands-on, a lot of repetition, drawing. And numbers, we incorporate numbers in everything that they do, and they can be playing in the block area. And I said, oh, how many blocks you put here? What is the shape of that block? So teaching is happening in every corner of the class. I will say like 80 to 90% of the children already acquired the alphabet Creole. They know it and they can write it. They can write their name in Creole. It's exciting. It's exciting here.
In the case of the bilingual program in Mattapan, those who are of Haitian heritage, at home, most of them hear Creole, which means that Haitian Creole in particular, from that perspective, is an asset for them. From the moment a child is born, the child is already using the language that they hear in the environment in order to process all kinds of knowledge. We also know that children whose first language is honored in the classroom, those children are better learners of second languages like English in the US. When that child coming from Boston goes back to Haiti to meet with the family, knowing Creole will allow the child to be integrated in the home community. And even if the child doesn't go to Haiti, even if the child stays in Boston, any second language that the child speaks is knowledge, is an asset, is a wealth. So it's a huge advantage for any child to be bilingual.
Okay, you want the salad cut in half? Yes. Do you want me to take the crust off of it? I'm not a fan of doing that.
My dad always made it a priority to speak Creole to me and not English, because he was like, you're gonna learn your language. If I don't give you anything else, I'm gonna give you your language. Like, he could have had me teach him English, but instead he taught me Creole so that I could, you know, have that. And I'm super grateful for that. Super duper grateful. And I just want, my wish is that I can pass it on to my children like he passed on to me. The Haitian culture is a big deal to me, and I want it to be a big deal to them. And part of that is, you know, learning how to speak the language. Tell me how many words are in the sentence, okay? Okay. Ben likes books. How many words are in that sentence? 3. Nice. Good job. Yeah, they sing a lot of songs. She's always coming home, singing a different song. And I'm like, oh, that's so awesome. And like, it's cool when you hear your kid speak in a different language and you actually understand what they're saying. Like, sometimes I'll say words and she'll be like, Mama, this is how you say it in Creole. And she'll tell me and it'll be right. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you are so awesome. Who's my smarty patati? That's right. Whatever it is to be Haitian, I want my children to have that. That's everything to me, because I feel like, you know, they are half American and I don't want to discount that part of them, but they live in America. So they're always going to get their American culture. They're always going to get English. They're always going to get everything American because this is where they live. So it's important to me that I always drive home the Haitian culture. That's her calling her name several times.
And I made circles of it.
That's so cute, babe. This is the first classroom of the program, K1, but next year we'll expand to K2. And as our school expands, we plan to expand the program as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I have about 1 minute left. I'll make sure I send out the link to the video if you want to share it and or show it to your colleagues. I want to just to acknowledge that. Also, May is Haitian Heritage Month. So they may have some events happening in your community with Haitian students and families. Okay, so wrapping up, here's what I need you to do. Ask these 8 simple questions. I have number 9 because it's blank, which means make up your own questions. Send them to me. Let's do something with them. I have a bank of like questions 9 through 11 because out of this work has come other really simple questions, but with complex answers. So it's kind of fun to see how the work grows and shapes. And then again, kind of ending, I made a coloring sheet out of the iceberg. Yes, everybody likes to color. Adults like to color. So the question is, what are you committed to getting beneath the surface? What are you going to do for the remainder of this school year? What do you want to do going forward? I definitely am going to download the chat. Somebody invited me to their district. And let me tell you, I don't know if they're ready for this, Jelly. You better get them ready. They like to keep me in the Zoom. In person, it's like 5 times even hotter. So just be ready. And then lastly, let me end with this. So this was from not too long ago, 1956, Gordon Parks. He was a famous photographer, and he was one of the first photographers who had his work in Life magazine. And so when he took this picture, and I came across his work, this is how I like to conclude my talks. And if you look at these children, you see the barrier, right? And like you see what's on the other side, it's playground equipment. They just want to play. But in this space at this time in the United States, these students weren't allowed to engage and participate. But this is the one that we're used to seeing. Yes, yes. This is the one that we're used to seeing. How many of you have seen this one? Yes, we say, okay, well, here's what equality is. Here's equity. Here's liberation. What's your idea? I want to know what your ideas are, but I do not want us to forget this is a cartoon. The one over here on the left, this is reality. Okay, and that was not that long ago. There are people that were alive. Okay, these children could still be alive somewhere. And so I want you to think about what barriers, invisible or not, are in the way of all of our students having access to everything. Okay, so I just wanted to end with a cartoon or illustration versus reality and make sure that we're working toward removing those barriers. Here are the references. I am Ayanna Cooper. I am done. I don't know what you have to do for the rest of the day, but I am done. I'm logging off. This was fantastic. Thank you, everybody, for having me. Thank you so much. I'm going to get the chat.
Thank you.
I hope you have a good rest of the day. I'm done. I'm done, darling. I can't even think the rest of the day. I'm done. I'm done. Not answering any emails. I'm done.
I love it. I did just drop the link in for our 10:30 sessions. There are 2 to choose from, so you can scroll down real quick and pick the one that you're going to. One is with Dr. Jessica Hazard and Fred Best, and the other is for dual language immersion. So those links are both there.
Thank you so much. So much. Thank you.
Awesome.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Guys, could you make sure that we have access to the presentation, please?
Absolutely. Thank you, Alinda.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ayanna. I'll hit you up later.
Okay. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. I'll make sure you get all that info
Bye.
and everything.
Okay. Take
Okay,
care.
dear. Bye. Have a great day.